mighty one. Whatever darkness brings, there is a King of Kings. Whatever battle we wage, whatever evil we face, we just get louder, louder with our praise. When sin goes face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down. When sin goes face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down.
Come on, break it down,
Hands down.
Sin didn't, no, and sin doesn't have a chance in competition with your forgiveness. No, no, sin didn't, yo, and no it doesn't. Come on, hey, stand a chance against your grace. Go, ding ding, the bell rings, life swings. No matter what this life brings, man, I'll sing. 'Cause you are the reigning one, the champion. The sins of this life that come, you overcome. We stick to our creed when things get rocky. When you on our side, no nothing can stop me. You won every round. It's about to get loud. Grace wins, hands down.
Face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down. When sin goes face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down. When sin goes face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down. When sin goes face to face with your grace, grace wins. Hands down, hands down, hands down. Hands down. Hands down.
everyone. Can you believe that it is the last week of November? This has been a pretty crazy and weird year, if you ask me. Do you agree? So much has happened, right? But even with all the unexpected things and changes that we've experienced, we can know for sure that God has been doing some pretty great things too. And for that, we should be grateful. And that is what we have been talking about all month long. Gratitude. I have a quick question for you. Do you have any habits? Now, I'm not talking about habits like picking your nose, or biting your fingernails, or eating all the cookies in the cookie jar right before dinner. I'm talking about habits that are good for you, like eating your vegetables, or brushing your teeth daily. These are good habits, and today we are talking about getting into the good habit of gratitude. Gratitude is letting others know that you see how they've helped you. It shouldn't be hard to get into a habit of gratitude. After all, saying thank you is really easy, especially if you're sending a text. See? Thank you. Or even better, thanks. Haha, simple, right? Anyway, the thanking part is the easy part of the habit. The part that isn't so easy is the remembering part. Usually, when we don't say thank you, it's because we forget. It can be true when thanking other people, and it can be true when we talk about thanking God too. In today's story, we're going to learn how to make a habit of remembering what God has done for us. Now that sounds like a good habit to me. Check this video out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. And now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11.
The night before Jesus gave up his life, he had a special dinner with his closest friends, the Passover meal.
Take this and eat it.
The Israelites had been celebrating Passover for a long time. It all began in Egypt when God's people were forced into slavery. At last, God sent Moses to face down Pharaoh and demand freedom for the Israelites.
Let my people go.
Over and over, Pharaoh promised to let the Israelites go, but then changed his mind. And each time, God sent a plague, a terrible warning, so Pharaoh would let the Israelites go. There were frogs, flies, hail, darkness, and more. And finally, God sent the 10th and most terrible plague of all.
The Lord says, every oldest son in Egypt will die.
It was a terrible day, but God made a way to save the sons of the Israelites.
Go at once. Each family must kill a Passover lamb. Put some of the blood on top and on both sides of the doorframe. The Lord won't let the destroying angel enter your homes.
The Israelites did just as God had told them. That night, Pharaoh finally ordered the Israelites to leave.
Get out of here. Go!
The Israelites packed so quickly that they didn't even have time for their bread to rise, so they baked flatbread without yeast.
Crunchy.
Then God led them out of Egypt to freedom.
Always remember this day. You and your children after you must celebrate this day as a feast to honor the Lord.
As God instructed, the Israelites made a habit of celebrating Passover with a meal of lamb and flatbread with no yeast, just like the bread they had taken with them out of Egypt.
Blessed are you, Lord our God.
Jesus grew up celebrating the Passover every single year. But when he shared the meal with his friends the night before he died, Jesus did something different. He changed the Passover meal. The Apostle Paul wrote about it years later in his letter to the Corinthians.
On the night the Lord Jesus was handed over to his enemies, he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it. He said, "This is my body. It is given for you. Every time you eat it, do it in memory of me."
The bread was a reminder of how the very next day, Jesus would give himself up and allow himself to be killed for us. Paul continues.
In the same way, after supper, he took the cup. He said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood. Every time you drink it, do it in memory of me."
The drink was a reminder of how Jesus would allow his own blood to be spilled out so that we can live. Because of Jesus, we don't have to try to prove to God that we're good enough. All we have to do is believe that Jesus came to rescue us and choose to follow him. Jesus took an old habit of gratitude, the Passover, and made a brand new habit of gratitude, the Lord's Supper or communion. The Passover meal was a celebration of how God had rescued his people from slavery. Now, the Lord's Supper is a celebration of how God has made it possible for everyone to be rescued from sin and death through the life and death and resurrection of Jesus. And for the last 2,000 years, people have been celebrating what Jesus did for us by eating bread and drinking wine or juice together. Some churches do it every Sunday or every month. Others might do it a few times a year. They use different kinds of bread or wafers or wine or juice. But in every case, the habit is the same. It's a beautiful chance for us to remember together the amazing way that God has rescued us and to thank him for all he's given us.
Pretty neat, huh? For thousands of years, people have been finding different ways, different habits, and different traditions to help them remember what God has done for them. We remember that God sent Jesus to earth by celebrating Christmas. We remember the time Jesus came back from the dead every Easter. And another thing that people do to remember that Jesus died on the cross for their sins is by celebrating something called the Lord's Supper or communion. Some people remember the Last Supper Jesus had with his disciples by eating bread and wine, while some other people just eat crackers and juice. However you celebrate, it's important to remember that Jesus died for you because he loves you, and he made a way for you to have a relationship with God. Here's the one thing to remember this week. Get in the habit of being grateful. Find a way every day to thank God for what he's done. And one thing, be specific. Thank him for the smell of the rain, or the sweetness of the ice cream you are eating, or for the music that makes you want to dance. Just remember to always be grateful, and don't let a moment pass you by. Really think about God and how much he loves you. I think that will be a great habit for all of us, don't you think? This week, ask God to help you stay grateful, because we have a lot to be thankful for.